Thursday, April 24th. This is a morning SPY update, about 45 minutes into trading. You can see it started up in the morning, and the way I'm interpreting this chart is, first of all, yesterday I discussed how I bought some puts here near the end of the session, and I was kind of I was able to scale out near the lows of the day, and then I was trying to, hold on to the rest of the position overnight to see if it would head lower. That was my expectation. You kind of had the red shooter bar from yesterday at the high of a range, and you kind of expect that low to be tested, at least into this gap, even though you're kind of up on the week a little bit, anyway. So clearly at the moment, that's not happening. We're still inside of yesterday and right at the midpoint of the prior day. So the way I'm seeing this right here, first of all, in terms of holding those put options, the remaining portion, once I saw this opening bar turn green, I exited that with a small loss. So, I bought it here near the end of the day and exited around here near the open, a little bit. So that's kind of the way you had to interpret it. If you're just trading outright today, you would want to buy the SPY here kind of on the first bar break, kind of anticipating you're going to take out that pre-market high and this little pivot area right here. And then that's the key inflection point on the day because it's right near the midpoint of the prior day. So this day could still test the lows of yesterday, but now we have the reference point that it's going to have to kind of fail up right around here, taking out the pre-market highs, which it's not doing at the moment, and then, kind of come back through the midpoint of the first bar, which is like the open. So if somehow we get a big failure and we start coming back through the midpoint here, to me, that's a good opportunity to say, okay, we just had a little up move here, liquidity grab, and we're going to now come down and take out the lows of today and then the lows of yesterday into this gap, and maybe overall we are failing at the top of this big range inside this green bar. So that's kind of the way I'm interpreting it. If not, then I almost get the feeling on the weekly chart we've come up through the midpoint of the prior week, and between today and tomorrow we can get to the highs of the previous week, which is kind of up here, and that's what's unfolding right now. So the structure is to the upside, there's no doubt about it. If you bought it here, you had to be very nimble at this point. You're buying the calls or whatever, the index right here, you're expecting it to head to this area, and then you watch very closely because it's a key inflection point, whether we work up for the rest of the week and you kind of now have enough of a cushion where you can do no worse than break even and still expect it to head up until structure changes, or is it going to fail? And we know the failure reference below the open of today. So let's see what unfolds for the rest of the day, but definitely the SPY's heading up. A little bit of a, not necessarily a surprise that it's doing this today, in the sense that you're still on the weekly chart having a reversal week that got through the midpoint of the prior week and trying to head up there. But after yesterday's price action, you kind of expected a little test lower, and then you wanted to see what would unfold into this gap down here. But for now, we might not test that low of the day, but we're still below the midpoint. We're still inside, so I think it's still possible if price action wants to head that way. So that's my analysis on the SPY. We'll see what happens for the rest of the day.